Um, we're going to play with the brushes and kind of just see how things work. The other thing that the gesture that I really love is the zoom. I don't know if you noticed that. You can just use your fingers to pinch out or pinch in, and that will zoom in or zoom out, which is a really nice gesture to have. So if I want to zoom in, all I have to do is just tap and pinch my canvas. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to delete these layers. It won't let me delete this last layer, so the only thing I can do to it is clear it. Um, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and come up here to my dry ink. And let's go ahead and just sketch something out. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to change my color to black. And I'm just going to come in here. Since this is a sketch, I'm just being very loose. I'm not drawing hard. Okay, I'm just lightly sketching something in. And then from here, I can go ahead and create some petals. So we're going to go ahead and draw a flower. If you know me, you know that I love to draw flowers. So, don't worry about your petals being perfect. Flowers aren't perfect, you guys. In fact, they have a lot of imperfections. So just play around with it and have fun. And not to mention, this is the sketching phase. So if you want to come in here and refine your sketch, you totally can refine your sketch from here. So say I just, want this to come in just a little bit. And then this one, I want to come over more. And then I want to leave a little more room for this other petal here. Then I can totally do that too. And then let's turn up my brush size. I can come in here and just erase things because this is my sketch. So I get to be in control of what it is that I am doing. Okay. Um, so what we're going to do next is we're going to add color to this. So I have my sketch layer. This is usually how I work. I will draw a sketch and then I will actually create it afterwards. It helps me to know where things are. I refine the way I want it to look. And even then, I can make changes as I put the actual color down. So I'm going to new layer because it's not the sketch anymore. I'm putting in the ink and I'm going to switch back over to my studio pen. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick, so I'm going to come back to my palettes and we'll use this one. And I will pick this mauve pink color. And I can come in here and draw out these petals. And you can see that, like I said, I am not being perfect with my sketch, but it does give me an idea of where I want everything. Okay. Now that I have this kind of outlined out, what I can do is one of my favorite things to do is fill it with color. Okay. And I am going to just click and drag really fast. Now, if you hold it down, it actually will switch the color to the last color that you used. And so you don't want to hold it. You just want to grab it and pull it. Okay. Now there's these other options that I will show you how to do in a minute. Um, but this should fill in your um, your sketch. Now, if you are filling and you see that you've got like openings or things aren't doing what you want it to do, you can move your threshold up by just dragging in there and then pulling and going to the right. Okay, so if you're seeing that it's not filling the shape like you want it to, then you might need to bump up or take down your threshold depending on what's going on with the shape. Okay, so now we have the base of our flower, and I'm going to do a new layer because I'm going to do a new color. I'm actually going to turn this off so that I can see my sketch. Some people put the sketch on top. I don't like to because sometimes I can't see the edges of what I'm drawing, and so I don't like that. But everybody is different, so do it however you like. Um, and then I'm just going to come in here. I think I'm going to make it a little less perfect. But that at least gives me kind of a rough idea of how I want my shape. And then I'm going to drag and fill that in. So now I have this cute little flower right here. And then you can go ahead and add in some details. So I'm going to go ahead and come back to this mauve color. And I'm going to keep this same brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn my blending mode into multiply. And the nice thing about doing multiply is that I can use the same exact color and then I'm going to get a nice contrast. So I don't have to think of trying to find a really pretty darker version of this. I just have to use this same color and I can come in here and you can see that now I am just adding in this and I get some of these little veins, I guess, in my petals, which just add a little bit more detail. But it looks really pretty, I think. So that is that. Now, I told you I would show you the color fill option that came up. And if I come here and we're going to pick a green, and we're just going to draw a little set of leaves that come off. And I'm actually going to do it from this way so that the end of my stem is thicker than the top. And then I'm just going to kind of draw in some leaves. So we're just going to do this cute little stem. All right. So I have this. Now we can use that color fill method, but I would have to do that for each individual petal normally. Okay, so I could come in here and drag and put it in there, but it only fills in the one closed area. That's the other thing is if I don't have a closed shape, see how it's open, and I try to drag that in there, it's going to fill in everything because it's like a paint bucket. As long as there is no gaps, all of the color is going to fill and stay inside. If there is a gap, it's going to spill out that hole and go everywhere on the artboard. So it will only go to one. But if I click and drag and then click this continue filling, then I can just click inside each one of those and I have a quick way to fill multiple pieces within that layer or on multiple layers if you want to, like if you're using that color on different layers, you can still utilize this by going to a different layer and filling that in there. All right. All right, let's add a few more little details. I'm going to do the same thing we did, and we're just going to put some veins in here. Now, this might be a little bit thick, but that's okay. This is why I love this brush, this Studio Pen. It makes these nice little thicks and thins. Okay. All right. So that is your first illustration in Procreate. Congratulations.